Namaste everyone, welcome to the class again. Now in this lecture we will see this adulthood, that is 19 to 65 years and above. What different changes we will have in the age group of 19 to 65. Okay, so adult develop the ability to show and reciprocate love and to make long term commitment. They develop an interest in guiding the development of the next generation, often by becoming a parent. Most of the young people leave home, complete their education, and begin full time work. Major concerns of this phase include developing a career, forming an intimate partnership, and marry, rearing children, or establishing other lifestyles. Many people reach the heights of their career and attain leadership positions. They also help their children begin independent lives and their parent adapting to aging. They become more aware of their own mortality. So we can see that in this age group, that is 19 to 65 years of age, okay, the responsibility on the person is more, okay, as compared to other stages of his life. Now let us see one by one different development. First we see physical development. So in comparison to the period between 20 to 30, individual in 30 to 40 take time to recover from muscular strain. Okay, so if there is any muscular strain in your body and you are in 30 to 40 years of age group, then you will find that it take more time to recover, okay, as compared to 20 to 30 years of age. Their sensory ability and visual acuity diminishes. We see that in 30 to 40 years of age group, our sensory abilities are also decreasing. Many people in their late 30s and early 40s begin to notice that their eyesight is getting weak and they need eyeglasses. So one thing that many people in this age group they experience that their eyesight is now is little weak and therefore they need eyeglasses. Hearing loss because of damage of their hair cells. Similarly, they feel that now they are not able to hear properly, means they need a loud voice to hear something because there is a damage of hair cells in the inner ear, and also happen during this age are also. So two loss we see here, that eyesight is becoming weak and there is a hearing loss. It is during the age of 40s to 50 year that many people first begin to suffer from ailment such as high cholesterol and high blood pressure. Okay, now you will also see that during the age group of 40 to 50, many people complain that they are now suffering from high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So this is a common ailment which we see in the age group of 40 to 50. As well as they also experience a low bone density. That means that they feel pain in their bone in their body. Women experience menopause, which usually occur at around the age of 50. Okay, now what is this menopause? Menopause means their menstrual cycle stops. So some women may react more negatively to the menopause as they feel that they have lost their femininity and the chance to bear children, whereas other women may regard menopause as freedom from menstrual discomfort and unwanted pregnancy. So in different women's the emotional change because of this menopause is different. Some women feel that now their femininity is lost because now they have no menstrual cycle, but some female feel happy about this menopause because now they have no menstrual discomfort, as well as there is no unwanted pregnancy also. Okay, most men never completely lose their fertility. So here we see that women in their late 50s or in their 50s, they lose their fertility. Females, they lose their fertility. Okay, menopause is the other word for losing of the fertility, but in men we see that they never lose their fertility completely. but they do experience a gradual decrease in their testosterone level. So their testosterone level decreases, but their fertility never end. Okay. Cognitive change. So this is the physical change which we see in this 20-year to 65-year or above. Okay. Now cognitive change. Adulthood is marked by remarkable change in the cognitive abilities. Abilities that involve intensive information processing begin to decline in early adulthood. So after this 30 year of age, okay, our ability to process a large information, it start declining. But those that depend on accumulated knowledge and experience strengthens. But our ability means which depend on our accumulated knowledge and experience, it strengthens in this particular age group. Okay, years of accumulating and organizing informations can make older adult practiced, skillful and wise. Now because in this age group the person has more experience. Okay, and because of that he is more skillful and wise. During the early and middle adulthood period, adults perform better on tests of vocabulary, comprehension and general knowledge, especially if they are engaged in enriching activities such as travel or reading. They are able to view both the possibilities and the problems in every course of action, such as in deciding whether to start a new business, back a political candidate, move to a new place or to change jobs. So here they are able to view both the possibilities and the problems in every course of actions. So in this age group you try to see the two sides of a coin, we can say. Okay, good point as well as the negative points. Middle aged adults are good at making sensible decisions. Now middle aged adults, they are good in making sensible decisions because now they are experienced. Okay, and they have more responsibility, so they think more before deciding anything. So on any matter related to emotions, social issues and personal relationships, so they are more mature to take sensible decisions. They tend to weigh various solutions to problem rather than just accepting the first one that is spring in their mind. So in this age group they do not accept the first solution, they think different solutions and try to get the best out of it. After the age of 65 or so, some intellectual abilities decline noticeably. So when you reach 65 years of age and when you cross that age, what you find that your intellectual abilities are declining sharply, especially on matters that require active thinking and reasoning and sheer mental efforts. Older adult, when asked to perform an unfamiliar task or to solve a complex problem they have not seen before, they generally slow down and act less effective in nature. So if you give a problem, okay, a problem which a person has not experiences in life, then in that case you will find that these older people, okay, they take more time to understand. They have difficulty in doing tasks that require them to divide their attention between two activities. Now if you give an activity to an older person in which he has to switch between different activities, then also you will find that they are slow in those activities. So you will find them slower at shifting their attention back and forth between two different activities. The greatest threat to the cognitive ability in the late adulthood is Alzheimer's disease. Now I think because of some Indian movies, we are more familiar with this Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease. Now, what this Alzheimer's disease is? Alzheimer's disease is a disease where a person start forgetting his day-to-day activities. Right. Now, social and emotional development. Adulthood is the time when changes occur in emotional and social relationships and positions also. In later stage of life, transitions such as divorcing, being fired, remarrying, losing a spouse to death, being hospitalized, moving back home, or retiring are just few of the turning point that can redirect a person's life path and lead to a change in personality. So these are different stages because of which these are different we can say that reasons because of which there is a complete change in the life path of a person. However, during early stages, young adult become more concerned with the matter of romantic love. So in early stages, that is 20s and 30s, you will find that people are more romantic. Okay, for many of them, the experience of becoming parent represents entry into a major new developmental phase. Young mothers may experience particular dissatisfaction, especially if they resent the constraints that infant brings. So young mothers means if a child give a birth, if a mother, if a woman gives a birth, okay, then in many cases you will feel that she is dissatisfied. She is dissatisfied. Why she is dissatisfied? Because she is not able to handle her infant properly, or she is feeling that her career is his career is now means that she is not now able to perform good in her career because now she has to take care of her baby. So if they see their career of a prime importance, so if a woman is seeing her career as a prime importance, then in that case if she become a mother, then she is quite dissatisfied. They find it difficult to manage if the parents and the family is not supportive in nature. So the whole family should support a mother. Okay, if the family is not supporting, then in that case also it is very difficult for her to manage. It become quite difficult when the father does not share his responsibility of caring for the baby. Then both the mother and the father become dissatisfied. So in this at this stage, what happens if a father is not caring her child, then both mother and father they become dissatisfied. The ability of young parent to provide adequate care to their babies is related to their own attachment histories. At around 40s, people may rethink and modify their lives and relationships. For both men and women, the emerging sexuality of their teenage children, the emptiness of the nest as the children leave home, or the declining health of the parent may create emotional disturbances. Most people become grandparents. So we can see that more emotional disturbance at this particular age group people suffer because their parents are now older and they have many health issues. Their childrens are now they are big enough to leave home, so they are now alone at their home. So all these emotional changes they suffer in this particular age group. Most people in their 60s want their children to be independent. They may have mixed feeling towards adult children who still need financial support. So when you are at the age of 60 or 65, what is your feeling that your children should be independent? Means financially he should be independent, he should not depend on you. But in many cases you feel that your children, when you are in your 60s or 65s, at that stage also your children are dependent on you for finance. Men and women who have been employed usually retire from their job during this period, right? 60 to 65 years of age is the age of retirement. So many people are, we can say that if a husband and wife both are working, so both retire at this particular age. Old age is not necessarily a time of loneliness and desolations, but it is a time when people generally become more inward looking and cautious. So at this stage, okay, we find that people they become more inward looking. More inward looking means they now start thinking about their own what they have done in their lives, or we can say that they are now more engaged spiritually. During the old age, they sense that time is running out and they value positive interactions and become selective about their social partners. With the onset of old age, people become aware that that is approaching. Now, when you are old, that time you become more aware that now death is approaching. That is approaching. It is a truth that whoever came in this world has to go. They may feel their health failing, their strength waning, and their intellectual capabilities declining. So, all these feelings we experience in our old age, that our health is now going down, our strength is going down, our intellectual capabilities are declining. A few years or a few months before death, some people experience a sharp decline in their mental functioning. So we see that many old people, okay, before their death, they are not mentally fit. People evaluate their lives and accomplishment and see them as meaningful or meaningless. Now, in this old age, they start seeing their life whether they have done something for which is meaningful, means which make them feel happy. So they feel that their life was meaningful, or they if they evaluate their life and sometimes they uh, feel that it is meaningless, means they have not achieved much in their life, and because of that they feel despair. They become more interested in the religious and spiritual side of the life. So at this age they are now more inclined towards religious and spiritual things. The risk of suicide increases with age. Okay, this is again a risk, because they feel that nobody care for them, or now nothing they have to do, and therefore the risk of suicide increases. One more reason for that is their declining health conditions. Okay, now the factor influencing the human growth and development, we have seen how at different ages there was development in human life. Now let us see a few factors which influence this growth and development. Okay, so there can be many factors that influence human growth and development. They can be broadly classified into internal and external factor. Internal factor include conditions within the body such as intelligence, sex, gland of internal secretion, emotions, etc. Whereas the external factor include conditions outside the body such as environmental, nutrition, nationality, etc. Okay, so internal as well as external, both factors are there which influence your development and growth. Okay, so let us first understand internal factors. In that we will see heredity. Now what is heredity? Heredity is the phenomenon by which the features and characteristics are passed from the parent to the child before the child is born. Okay, so very beautifully it describes heredity. What is heredity? Heredity is a phenomenon by which the features and the characteristics are passed from parent to their children before the child is born. A human child is born when the male sperm fertilizes with a female egg. Okay, now we know the condition how a child born. Okay, when a male sperm it fertilizes a female egg, then child born. Certain thread-like structures are present in the nuclei of these parent cells. These thread-like structures are called chromosomes. The chromosomes contain chemical substances called genes. These basic structures, chromosomes and genes, determine the characteristic of a child, and this is what is called heredity. Thus the features like the color of the skin and the eyes, the straight or the curly hair, the pigmentation of the skin, height, body build, intellect and talent, etc. are all fixed and no one can change them beyond a limit. So all these factors they are depend on your parents. Okay, these are all heredity characters. Okay, your skin color, your eye color, your hairs. Okay, in fact your intellect, your talent. Okay, all these depends on your parents. It is all heredity characters. So generally tall parents have a tall offsprings. A child does not need to have a resemblance to the trait of his or her parent. A child may have a resemblance to the trait of his or her grandparent. So sometimes you will find that children are not resembling to their parents, but they are resembling to their grandparents. It can be analyzed through the pedigree analysis. So by pedigree analysis, we can understand whether a child resembles to their parents, child has received character from their parents, or he has received character from their grandparents or any other generation. Heredity is responsible for not only physical features but also instinct, attitude, perception and emotions of an individual. So here heredity is not only responsible for physical features but emotional feature is also based on this heredity. Genetic and chromosomal disorders affect the growth and development of a baby. Certain diseases like asthma, diabetes, etc. in individuals are generally due to the genes they inherit. So many diseases are what we can say that children get from their parent. Maternal diabetes may result in more than normal weight in a baby. Higher intelligence is associated with faster development, whereas lower intelligence is associated with retardation in various aspects of the development. So we can see here that intelligence also we inherit from our parent, and this intelligence is responsible for our higher growth or retarded growth in different aspects of development. So this is what we see heredity, how heredity is responsible or how heredity affect our growth and development. Now second is environment, how environment is affecting our growth and development. So the prenatal environment is the environment of the fetus in the womb. If the mother is malnutritioned, emotionally upset, or smokes, drinks, or takes some medicines or suffer from certain disease, the growth of the child can be adversely affected by this. So before taking a birth, okay, if a mother is not taking proper care of herself, he is not taking proper food, she is emotionally upset, she is drinking, she is taking medicines, or she is suffering from certain disease, then it affect her child also. The emotional climate of the home adversely affect the child's growth and development. If there is a lot of fight at the home, or the child is not giving enough love and attention, or there is a physical or mental abuse of the child, then her development is adversely affected. Factors such as trauma from an unstable family, insecurity, sibling jealousy, and loss of parent affect the growth and development of the child. A child's rate of development is affected by the amount of stimulations provided by the child from his environment. So from one's environment, all these changes that affect his or her development. Now gender is also to some extent is responsible for growth and development. Certain skills are faster in girls than in boys, so we see gender how it plays an important role in development. Okay, so girls are good in some activities and boys are good in some other activities. For example, language acquisition is faster in girl. Okay, girls they learn different languages early or easily, we can say, while skills like jumping, catching, throwing are faster in boys. Boys grow up to be taller, heavier and more muscular than the girls. So this is again one difference, that boys, okay, they generally grow taller, they grow heavier, they are more muscular as compared to the girls. Boys on average develop several motor skills earlier than the girls. The male type brain outperforms the female type in visio-spatial abilities. So male type brain, it outperforms the female type brain in some visio-spatial abilities, whereas the female type brain is better in verbal and linguistic abilities. So there are some areas where boys have a better development, and there are some areas where female have better development. Boys typically produce androgens, it is a male sex hormone, while the female produce estrogen, a female sex hormone. So this is how gender influence on development and growth. Now nationality also have impact on growth and development. The socio-economic status of the country also influences the growth and development of its citizens, as it decides the kind of nutrition, facilities, opportunities and genetic endowment its children are receiving. So it depends on nationality, na? What kind of nutrition or what different facilities or what genetic setup a child will receive. Okay, the poor socio-economic conditions affect growth and development. Poor sanitary conditions, various parasitic morbidity, poor housing, stressful family conditions and bad financial situations have a serious effect on the child's growth and development. So as all these things depend upon nation, so nation is responsible for growth and development in some aspects. Children coming from adequate finances are more likely to grow and develop to a optimum level. So if the financial condition is good, like in America the financial condition is better than say Bangladesh, so there is better chance of growth and development in America as compared to Bangladesh. I am just giving a example. Okay, nutrition, it also plays a very important role. Proper nutrition is essential for the healthy development of a child. A malnutritioned child growth may be retarded or slow. A malnutritioned mother produces weak babies. On the other hand, overnutrition may cause obesity. So looking after the malnutritional requirement of a mother is necessary to have a healthy child. So looking after nutritional requirement of a mother is necessary to have a healthy child. So if you want a healthy child, you should take care of mother's nutrition also. Lack of proper nutrition can interfere with the malnutrition of child's brain and body. Okay, so thus we have done with this chapter, which is growth and development. So we first start understanding the basic difference between growth and development, and then we have seen as far as human life is concerned, we have seen how at a different age there is different types of development. Okay, or how the development is happening at different stages. And lastly, we have seen various factors which affect the development of a child. Yeah, thank you. I will see you in next class with a new chapter.